Leonardo da Vinci is one of the greatest minds Western civilization ever produced. Painter, sculptor, architect, engineer, the original Renaissance man. And when da Vinci turned his extraordinary intellect toward the human body, he saw something that genuinely excited him. A machine, an elegant, breathtaking, almost divine machine, but a machine nonetheless. Muscles were levers, joints were gears, the heart was a pump, blood vessels were pipes. That mechanistic vision became the philosophical bedrock of modern Western medicine, and it has been astonishingly productive. The surgical advances, the antibiotics, the targeted therapies that followed from that worldview have saved hundreds of millions of lives. I want to be clear about that. This is not a criticism of Western medicine, it is a recognition of what it was built to do. But here's the problem that no one in mainstream oncology wants to say out loud. When it comes to cancer, the machine model is hitting a wall. Why does a tumor recur after what appears to be a clean resection? Why do the most advanced targeted drugs designed with molecular precision, eventually fail as cancer cells evolve around them? Why do two patients with identical diagnoses receiving identical treatment protocols have completely different outcomes? Because cancer is not the failure of an isolated mechanical part. You cannot fix an ecosystem by replacing a single component. 2,000 years ago, long before Da Vinci picked up a paintbrush, physicians in the East were operating from an entirely different understanding of the human body. Not a machine, not a collection of parts, something far more complex, far more adaptive, and far more difficult to break. A microecosystem. At the heart of Taoist philosophy is a principle called Tian-Ren-He-Yi, the resonance of man and nature. The idea is precise. The same laws that govern the macro universe, spring growth, summer expansion, autumn harvest, winter storage, are operating simultaneously inside your body right now at the cellular level. If you translate the Huangdi Neijing, Eastern medicine's foundational text, into the language of modern systems ecology, what emerges is a remarkably sophisticated map of biological equilibrium. The 5 organ networks described aren't just anatomical categories. They're interacting subsystems, each regulating and being regulated by the others in exactly the way a mature forest ecosystem maintains its own stability. Now here is where it gets genuinely interesting, and where I want every skeptic in the audience to lean in. Within the last 2 decades, mainstream Western oncology has been quietly shaken by one of the most important paradigm shifts in its history, the discovery of the tumor microenvironment. The scientific community finally confirmed what the data had been suggesting for years. A cancer cell does not arise or thrive in isolation. It requires a specific surrounding environment to survive. Altered pH levels, oxygen deprivation, immune suppressive signals, abnormal blood vessel formation. The tumor doesn't just grow in the tissue, it actively reshapes the tissue around it into a malignant cradle that sustains it. The West calls this a frontier discovery. Eastern medicine encoded it 2,000 years ago in 4 characters. Jiju Sheng Han, malignant accumulations arise from cold stagnation. In the ecological algorithm of TCM, a tumor is never a random anomaly. It is the predictable endpoint of a slow-motion environmental collapse. When the body's yang qi, its warming, circulating, activating energy, becomes chronically deficient, the local biological ecosystem shifts. It becomes cold, stagnant, depleted. The sunlit flowing forest becomes a dark, toxic swamp. Western oncology looks at that swamp, sees the poisonous growth, and deploys chemical herbicide. That approach is often necessary, but Eastern medicine, operating as a systems engineer, asks a prior question: what changed the forest into a swamp in the first place? And can we change it back? Let me walk you through a case that has stayed with me for years. A patient came to me with advanced liver cancer complicated by severe massive ascites, a dangerous accumulation of fluid in the abdomen. His Western oncology team had exhausted their options. Repeated abdominal drainage procedures and multiple rounds of targeted therapy had left his body profoundly depleted. The clinical assessment was direct. Multi-organ function was deteriorating toward terminal failure. The tumor was proliferating aggressively within a microenvironment that had completely lost its regulatory capacity. When he sat across from me, I did not see a liver with a tumor. I saw a micro-universe experiencing catastrophic inland flooding and total ecological collapse. His severe liver-qi stagnation had paralyzed the fluid metabolism of his entire body, creating a dense, cold, stagnant internal environment. Textbook deteriorating microenvironment, visually, energetically, clinically, he was a swamp. And here is the clinical decision that matters. If I had responded to that presentation with aggressive, toxic herbs aimed at directly attacking the cancer, I would have been doing the ecological equivalent of dumping more chemicals into an already poisoned system. His biological reserve was too depleted to survive that approach. So instead, I issued 3 strategic directives, not to the tumor, but to the ecosystem surrounding it. First, Wen Yang Hua Qi, warm and activate the yang energy. Essentially, raise a sun inside his internal cosmos to begin evaporating the cold stagnation. Second, Shugan Li Qi, dredge the blocked liver pathways, restoring the flow of his body's primary regulatory channel. Third, Jianpi Li Shui, rebuild the metabolic filtration and absorption capacity of the digestive system, which in TCM governs fluid distribution throughout the body. The herbal deployment was precise, calculated doses of eukomia, poria, polyporus, and a customized liver channel formula, each selected not just for its chemistry, but for its channel tropism, its biological address code directing it to the right subsystem. Within 2 weeks, something happened that his Western team found difficult to categorize. The massive fluid accumulation began clearing through normal urination. The inland flood was draining, but more profoundly, because the underlying yang qi had been resuscitated and the cold microenvironment had been systematically warmed and cleared. The tumor itself, without receiving a single direct cytotoxic hit, ceased its progression. It began to calcify. Over the following weeks, it shrank. Not because we attacked it, because we changed the soil it was growing in. When the ecosystem is restored, the cancer cell loses the environmental conditions it requires to survive. This is the core of what Eastern medicine brings to oncology, and it is not mysticism. It is a different engineering paradigm. Western medicine builds extraordinary tools to eliminate the cancer cells themselves. That work is real and it matters. But Eastern integrative medicine operates at a different level of the system, not targeting the tumor in isolation, but rebuilding the internal environment that allowed the tumor to arise and sustain itself in the first place. Tian-Ren-He-Yi, man and nature operating by the same laws. Your body is not a machine with a broken part. It is a living ecosystem that has fallen out of balance. And ecosystems, given the right conditions, have a profound capacity to restore themselves. If you or someone you love has been locked in an exhausting cycle of treatment and recurrence, if you focused every resource on fighting the cancer directly and keep running into the same wall, I want to offer you a different question to sit with. What if the missing piece isn't a sharper weapon pointed at the tumor, but a systemic ecological restoration happening beneath it? I'm Dr. Yao. Subscribe to this channel and stay with me. In our next episode, we go even deeper into why the Eastern principle of 1,000 formulas for 1,000 patients represents the earliest and most sophisticated form of dynamic precision medicine ever developed. It predates our current genomic personalization movement by 2,000 years. See you then.